That is what would happen with David. David would flee Saul and give Saul so many opportunities to turn this thing around, all so that God could build a case against Saul. Not even God building a case against Saul, friend. Also that Saul would build a case against himself, that he would not be able to come from up under. He will be blinded by his own internal inadequacies that would turn and become external projections in the form of jealousy and envy to a man that had done nothing to him. He was afraid of his own stuff befalling him. And he saw David as that aspect that could bring it about. He knew David was useful to God. He knew David would be the vessel that God could use to enact his will against Saul. This is what made him public enemy number one. Have you ever had to flee an environment and look like a fool, friend? Withstand rumors, lies, and never be able to speak any truths to them? All because God told you to move in that way? Friend, I'm here to tell you, I've had to sleep in my car. And I had a house because God told me to move in that way. You don't hear me though. I know you're thinking I'm just joking with you. I'm telling you the truth. I had to be mocked and spied on and stalked by people in certain communities that I lived in, because of the Sauls of the world. I'm here to tell you, y'all, God will, the enemy is an imposter of God. He has no more than what God has already done to recreate. So if God can work through one person for the good, the enemy can work through one person for the negative. The enemy can pinpoint a person that you may have a situation with and align to them, and use that one person as a cancer within a community to petition and to multiply negativity and lies, all to try to create negativity in your life. We see this all the time. Well, all you gotta do is turn on the news and you'll see it. They call them RICOs. Racketeer, influenced, and corrupt organizations. You've been influenced by somebody for a selfish desire. And whether you are the one that's committing the crime or not, if you've played any role in it, you are a part of it. They call that a RICO. What Saul was doing to David today will be considered a RICO. It was the original RICO. Saul hunting David was the original RICO. David was not even able to go and be partaking of his own community. He couldn't even go back to his own house. He couldn't even live amongst his own family decently. All had been infiltrated, corrupted, to the point that this king that David is standing in front of and acting as if he is not sane because he needs to go inconspicuous. He doesn't need to look like a threat. David would later reintroduce himself to this king. After the smoke clears and they kind of know what's going on between Saul and David, David would go back amongst this man, still as a mighty warrior, but no longer drooling, no longer needing to hide it, standing in his authority with thousands of mighty men on his side. He would come to this man and say, I want to partner with you. You know what's going on. They won't accept me. They want to keep this thing going. I don't know why it's going on either, but I don't have time to be worried about this. I'll align with you. And this king would say, okay, well, we'll run it by the Philistines and see what they say. And it will be the Philistines that will be like, nah, friend, nah, we good. This is a setup. Because there's no way that you have turned your back on your own house. You can't convince me that it's in you to do it. Friend, you're too honorable to do it. I don't trust this. Nah, I don't trust it. I'd rather take a loss than to trust aligning with you, because I know that you are too integral. That's how integral David was. His reputation surpassed him at heightened levels. Not because he was looking to make a name for himself, but because he stood in the integrity of God. And this is a testament to the monumental aspects of standing in the integrity of God. What it'll do to you. It multiplies your greatness. The love element, friend, multiplies the greatness. David was great because David loved deeply. David had found something that he loved and that was purposeful. And those two together are a powerhouse. The enemy only needs one. All he needs is one person that don't agree with you. All he needs is one. And with that one, he can multiply. David's one would be Saul. The enemies of God would use Saul. They would placate the fear that Saul felt in being replaced. We spoke to how Saul could have done like Samuel's mentor and just bowed out. But fear and ego wouldn't let him do it. The enemy will use one person, friend, and through that one, he will multiply himself all around you. Yet I'm here to tell you that none of that matters. I'm here to tell you that if you align to God and God tells you to do a thing, even if you look like a fool to your neighboring community, even if you look like a fool to the world, even if you look like a fool to kings of nations, you're right on time with God. Because God will create a sequence of events, just like he did with David, so that all of your enemies build cases against themselves. They all build it against themselves. Every last one of them. When we look at this story, that is exactly what is going on here. And they exalted David in the process. All of it worked to his benefit. But if he got hung up on what people were saying while he was going through it, he never could have reaped the reward. He never would have gotten the rebranding. He never would have stood in the truth of the rebranding, friend. The rebranding was truthful because David's walk made it so. It was so open that when the truth of what was really going on came out, it served David. They already had the lie. And they already had the activities of David and all of his walks and hiding and all of the people that came to him and all of the activities that they had. They all had that. So they see what David is doing and it's not making sense to them, and they're believing the lies. But then when the truth comes out, all of the lies are dispelled. And what made David look ridiculous, unstable, now made sense. And it gave David that much more credibility because of it. It gave David that much more credibility in the sense that, wow, what kind of characters does that person have to be able to have withstood that? I remember seeing them, and I remember walking past them and looking at them while they were going through it, and I thought that they were dealing with something completely different. But now that I know exactly what was going on, I got a whole nother level of respect for this person. That's David. And that's my word to you. When God says move, friend, you got to move. Like I said, I've had a house and had to sleep in my car, friend. I don't have no shame for you. I have no shame in nothing that I do. And in doing so, I allow God to do what God does. I know my role and I stay in my lane, and I allow God to do what God does. And I continuously, at that time, will come forth and chip away at it every day as if it was nothing. And that's my word for you. Keep going. Don't worry about what it looks like to people, y'all. People don't know.